If you are young, ambitious, and sick of watching everyone else seem to figure this out before you, this video is for you. Here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. In 2026, the world has changed faster than at any point in history. AI is replacing jobs, inflation is eating savings, and the traditional path of get a degree, get a job, retire at 65, is basically dead. And yet most people are still following it like it's 1995. They tell you to be patient, to climb the ladder, to wait your turn. But what if I told you the ladder isn't even attached to a building anymore? While most people are confused and frozen, a small percentage of young people are using this exact chaos to build wealth faster than any generation before them. I've spent years studying how people actually become rich in this new economy. Not the fantasy version, the real one. And what I've found is that everyone who gets rich passes through the same 5 stages, whether they realize it or not. So today I'm going to break down exactly what those 5 stages are, so you can figure out which one you're stuck in right now, and more importantly, how to get out of it. Let's get into it. Everyone online in 2026 is screaming a different answer at you. AI agencies, reselling with dropshipping through automation tools, trading crypto on some new chain, building a personal brand, getting into private credit, real estate with none of your own money down. Every single one of these people is convinced they have found the one true path, and that's exactly the problem. You are being pulled in 15 directions at once, and the noise doesn't make you more capable, it makes you paralyzed. Life is not a multiple choice test where there's one correct bubble to fill in. There are dozens of paths that lead to wealth. But if you don't commit to one because you're terrified of choosing wrong, life will choose for you. And when you let life choose for you, it almost always chooses average. That's why the first stage is called drifting. People stuck in drifting spend their 20s bouncing from idea to idea. They'll try affiliate marketing for 3 weeks, quit when it doesn't work instantly, jump to a content creation account that gets 10 followers, abandon that, then tell themselves they're just waiting for the right opportunity to come along. They're not building anything. They're floating, hoping momentum finds them instead of the other way around. There's an old line that still holds up today. If you are not building your own dream, someone else will hire you to build theirs. Or worse, some algorithm will just quietly extract your attention and give you nothing back for it. Because that's the new twist in 2026. It's not just your boss who wants to keep you where you are. It's your phone. Every app on your screen is engineered by extremely well-paid people whose entire job is to keep you scrolling instead of building. Nobody wakes up thinking, how can I make you rich today? The algorithm certainly doesn't. Your job, your landlord, your subscription services, none of them are thinking about your future. The only person who is ever going to prioritize your success is you. So be honest with yourself for a second. Are you drifting right now? I talk to so many people who say they want to be financially free, but when you look at their actual days, they're watching 4 hours of short videos, half-heartedly listening to a business podcast at 1.5 speed while doing something else, and telling themselves that counts as working on their goals. They'll say things like, money isn't everything, and sure, that's true, but it's also a lie they tell themselves to avoid discomfort. Because here's the uncomfortable reality. Money in 2026 buys you options. It buys you time back from your day. It means when rent goes up again, or your car breaks down, or a family member needs help, you're not lying awake doing math at 3 in the morning. Freedom and money are tangled together whether we like it or not, so there is nothing shameful about wanting more of it. A drifter will not build serious wealth on their own merit. They might get lucky. They might inherit something. They might get a viral moment they didn't plan for. But luck is not a strategy, and it is definitely not something you can teach your kids one day. So how do you stop drifting? It comes down to a single decision. You stop letting life happen to you, and you get obsessed with one specific outcome. Get yourself rich. That is why stage 2 is called obsession. That decision might not show results for months. You might make that choice today and not see a single dollar of difference for half a year. But it's that one decision that puts your entire trajectory on a new track. If the idea of obsessing over money made you cringe a little just now, that's worth examining, because that discomfort is exactly what keeps so many capable people stuck in stage 1 forever. There is nothing dirty about wanting financial freedom. Money lets you live on your own terms instead of somebody else's terms, and the only way to actually get there is with total, uncomfortable focus. Here's what I see constantly with people in their late teens and 20s. They say they want to become rich, but they also want to learn 3 languages, get shredded, master guitar, read 100 books this year, and build a 6-figure business, all at the same time. Imagine your friend telling you they want to go pro in football, but they're also training for a marathon, learning to DJ, and studying for a chemistry degree simultaneously. You'd tell them to pick one. Becoming rich, genuinely financially free, not just comfortable, is one of the hardest things a person can do. It demands the kind of focus that most people are simply unwilling to give any single thing. I can tell you from personal experience, the years I actually made progress were the years I stopped treating money as one goal among many and started treating it as the goal. But obsession by itself doesn't pay your bills. You need obsession pointed at something specific. That brings us to a hard truth. You get paid in direct proportion to the value you provide. Full stop. If you are not rich yet, it is because right now, today, you do not provide enough value for someone to pay you enough for it. That's not an insult, that's just the mechanism. So the real question becomes, how do you become more valuable, fast, in an economy that's shifting under your feet every few months? This is where most people get stuck, because they think they need to invent something nobody has ever seen before. They think they need to be the next founder of some app that didn't exist yesterday. You don't. You just need to find something that is already working for real people right now, and ask yourself, how can I learn to do that too? In 2026, that might mean learning to actually use AI tools to produce work 10 times faster than someone charging the old rate. It might mean short-form content editing, which is still absurdly underserved. It might mean running outreach and closing deals for small businesses who are drowning and have no idea how to modernize. It might mean building small automation systems for local companies who still run everything on spreadsheets and sticky notes. The fastest way to learn any money-making skill is to find someone already a few steps ahead of you and reverse engineer their exact path. That is why Stage 3 is called discovery. Years ago, when I first got serious about building something of my own, I didn't just guess my way into it. I found someone already doing what I wanted to do, and I got close to it. I asked questions constantly. I paid attention to what was working for them and, just as importantly, what kept tripping them up. I wanted the shortcuts, not the theory. Now, you might not want to do the exact same thing I did, and that's fine, because the principle transfers to literally any high-income skill in 2026. Find someone who has already achieved the outcome you want, and study exactly how they got there. It's the closest thing to a cheat code that exists. You get a blueprint that lets you skip years of mistakes and move faster than they ever did. This person doesn't need to be famous. Honestly, it's better if they're not, because the less of a personal brand they have, the more you know their income is coming from an actual skill, and not from selling courses about having a skill. You can find these people in niche online communities, on platforms most people your age have never even opened, in comment sections of creators doing real work, or just by asking around in person. Uncovering their actual pathway is genuinely the hardest part of this whole process, which is exactly why so many people give up here. This is often the stage where people quietly start building resources, communities, or simple frameworks to help others skip the years of trial and error they went through themselves. If something like that exists for the specific path you're chasing, it's worth looking into, not as a shortcut around effort, but as a shortcut around confusion. Once you've found a pathway that makes sense to you, your job shifts entirely. Now you need to close the gap between where you are and where they are. That brings us to Stage 4. Now that you've found a proven pathway, it's time to actually follow it and start making money from it. This stage is called acceleration. At this point you need reps, and lots of them. Just start. You do not need to fully understand what you're doing yet. If you're offering a service, do work for free or at a steep discount just to get real experience under your belt. If you're selling something, put the first version out into the world even if it's rough. Your early results will not be impressive, and that is completely fine. Before you can be genuinely good at anything, you have to be willing to be embarrassingly bad at it for a while. If you want to speed through this stage faster than everyone else, you need constant, honest feedback, and I mean brutally honest, not polite. So many people come to me convinced their content, their product, their pitch is already great, but the market simply isn't responding, and they assume it's just bad luck or a broken algorithm. Then I look at what they're actually putting out, and it's clear they're not nearly ready yet. Why do they think they are? Because they've been asking friends and family for feedback, and friends and family are, without exception, the worst people to ask. They don't want to hurt your feelings, and even if they did want to be honest, they usually don't have the experience to tell you what's actually wrong. This is exactly why so many people never pivot when they're clearly headed down the wrong road. There's an old saying that still applies perfectly here. If you keep doing what you've always done, you will keep getting what you've always gotten. Mastering a skill in this economy isn't just about grinding hours, it's about getting sharp, specific feedback that shows you exactly what's holding you back. then adjusting immediately instead of repeating the same mistake for another 6 months. This stretch of the journey, getting real feedback and putting your head down to actually apply it, can be genuinely brutal. Most people who eventually become financially free look back on this exact window as the loneliest chapter of their life. You start to drift from your old friend group, not out of arrogance, but simply because your priorities no longer match theirs. At the same time, you're not yet successful enough to feel like you belong with the people you're trying to become like. It's an uncomfortable middle ground, neither here nor there, and it can feel isolating in a very specific way. I've watched people close to me go through this exact stretch. Instead of following the standard path everyone expected of them, they chose to spend a couple of years fully heads down learning a skill nobody around them respected yet. They lost touch with a lot of old friends during that period. They kept refining, doubling down on what worked, cutting out what didn't, staying brutally self-aware the entire time. It took a while before they were far enough along to build relationships with people who understood what they were building. This lonely middle stretch is exactly where most people quietly give up and slide back into stage 1, back into drifting. And honestly, I understand why. It takes an uncommon level of persistence to keep pushing when you feel completely alone in it. So if you've already outgrown your old circle but haven't arrived where you're going yet, who do you turn to? In my experience, the most valuable relationships during this stretch are with people climbing at the same time you are, chasing something similar, hungry in the same specific way. The energy and insight you get from people in the trenches with you, and from people just 1 or 2 steps further ahead, is worth more than almost anything you'll find passively scrolling. This is exactly why community matters so much during this stage. Whether that's an online group built around a specific skill, a local meetup, or simply a handful of people you check in with regularly who won't let you get comfortable with mediocre work. Find that group. Do not try to do this stage completely alone if you can avoid it. Eventually, if you keep following a real pathway and keep closing the skill gap, the money starts to actually show up, and this is where it gets interesting, because there's a question almost nobody prepares you for. Once the money starts coming in, where does it actually go? That brings us to the truth behind stage 5. The single most valuable asset you will ever own isn't a stock position, a crypto wallet, or a piece of real estate. It's you. You are the one asset you carry with you for your entire life. And the skills you build compound in exactly the same way money does, except they can never be taken from you in a crash. This is the stage where the years of effort finally start paying dividends. That's why stage 5 is called freedom. If you've genuinely followed a real pathway and closed the skill gap between yourself and the people you were learning from, becoming financially comfortable stops being a mystery and starts being a matter of time. Eventually you reach a point where you can cover your needs without dread, work from wherever you want, and stop answering to someone else's calendar. I remember hitting that point myself, and there really is no substitute for that specific feeling. But here is the part people almost never talk about. Being rich and being wealthy are not the same thing. Once real money starts flowing in, you're faced with 2 very different paths. You can spend it as fast as it arrives, on the newest phone, on flashy clothes, on trips designed mostly to be posted online. Or you can take a meaningful chunk of it and reinvest it while you're still young enough for that investment to compound for decades. This choice is entirely yours, and nobody is going to make it for you. You've hit financial freedom, and there's real money coming in consistently. But if part of your goal is impressing people who are already ahead of you, here's the honest answer. Genuinely wealthy people are not impressed by someone young burning through everything they make. They notice, and quietly, they're a little disappointed, because they know exactly how much more could have been built with the same money. So how do you actually reinvest once you're at this stage? When I reached this point, I wasn't satisfied stopping at a single income stream. I built several, deliberately. Some of that is passive, index funds, selective stock positions, maybe a small allocation into higher risk assets like crypto if that fits your risk tolerance, though never money you can't afford to lose. But just as often, the best reinvestment is in additional skills, tools, or small ventures that increase how much value you're capable of producing. Most people never make this shift because they keep blowing their income on things that feel good for a week and mean nothing a year later. They'll drop $1,000 on the newest device without blinking, but hesitate to put $200 into a course, a mentor, or a tool that could meaningfully increase their earning ability. That single habit is the real dividing line between people who stay rich for a season and people who stay wealthy for life. Think about it honestly. Every dollar you spend today on something that means nothing in a year is a dollar taken directly from your future self. People who build lasting wealth reinvest consistently in their skills, their ventures, and their positions. People who stay financially fragile spend their money trying to impress other people who are just as financially fragile as they are. So even once you've reached freedom, keep investing an hour or two a day back into yourself. Read, study people ahead of you. Stay in rooms with people still pushing, even after you've made it. That habit, more than any single investment, is the one with the highest return you will ever get. So take a real look at where you actually are right now. Are you drifting, letting each week just happen to you? Are you stuck in obsession without direction, burning energy on 10 things at once instead of one? Are you in discovery, still hunting for the right pathway and the right person to learn from? Are you deep in acceleration, grinding through the lonely middle chapter that almost nobody talks about? Or have you made it to freedom, and now facing the quieter, harder question of what to do with what you've built? Wherever you land, the point isn't to feel behind. The point is to finally see the stage clearly, so you can stop drifting through it and start moving through it on purpose. If you want to go deeper into any one of these stages, I've got another video breaking it down further, right up there. Just don't click away yet. If this helped you see where you actually stand, subscribe, because there's a lot more of this coming. I'll see you in the next one.